my theory of why I'm so excited about Square and this opportunity is I see the convergence of these two ecosystems. And I think there's a third like storyline I want to tie into that, which is a couple years ago, Square obviously launched their crypto solution. But in the background, we've seen Jack Dorsey been buying a ton of Bitcoin, be a huge proponent of Bitcoin, say it should be the internet's backbone currency. He's also an angel investor in a company called Lightning Labs, which is building layer two solutions for the Bitcoin network. And it seems like we're setting up for this holy grail sort of convergence of Cash App, Square seller ecosystem, and then using Bitcoin layer two as the technology to connect all these customers with all these businesses. And if you look at Square's, opportunity slide, they have a $39 billion opportunity in transactions. And to me, which is their biggest one for their seller side, and to me, that's all coming up with a new payment technology to facilitate those transactions. So I'm curious, how you guys think about this. To me, that's the 10x, 10 bagger scenario here, is that Square pulls this off and they're able to, charge less per transactions, but get a higher margin, and then connect these two ecosystems with, tens of millions of people, become this sort of new era bank. And they're also simultaneously taking, Bitcoin and crypto mainstream at the same time. I'm also long Bitcoin, but I just think this is such an interesting sort of like slow motion, weaving together of the next wave of the whole financial system.
Yeah, I can start with that. I definitely agree with you, and sort of the merging of the two ecosystems being a compelling investment opportunity. That's one of our thesis, and it's why we're pretty interested in Square. I would say that from what we can tell, just like reading through transcripts, listening to their management talk, Amrita, who's their CFO, was at an investor conference last fall and basically alluded to one way in which you'd start to see the two ecosystems come together was through a loyalty product. So if you think about Square's loyalty solution today, it's basically for businesses to attract and drive new customers. But what if those loyalty solutions were potentially put in the Cash App in some way? So Amrita said that. So I think you'll start to see from our thinking, like we're sort of the opinion that you're going to start to see like a slow piecing of the two ecosystems together. It remains to be seen, what could come, what will actually come first. But it makes a lot of sense if I have 7 stars at a coffee shop, and a coffee shop is trying to get more traffic, then they could just send me a push notification or something like that, and it could potentially pop up in the Cash App as a way to bring me back into the store. So that makes a ton of sense. That makes a ton of sense to us.
Yeah, and just to add to that, at ARK we have a dedicated crypto analyst. You've seen, we've been looking into crypto since the inception of the firm in 2014. Released a Bitcoin white paper in 2015, and you could talk about a lot of interesting things in the context of Square and crypto, and also Square Crypto, which is their kind of designated arm of the company, which is I don't even know if I want to say arm of the company, because I think the very interesting thing about them is taking this kind of open approach, an open source approach. There are a few Medium blog posts kind of talking about the vision behind Square Crypto, and one of the opening lines is, why design the future of a company if you can design the future of money? I think that sums up their approach to this whole venture of the future of Bitcoin, basically. So I think they also are kind of in the long crypto, long Bitcoin especially game, and they just I think I'm not that deep in the crypto world, but I think what you've seen over recent years is that companies who try to align themselves too closely with Bitcoin, or kind of go on a little bit too edgy marketing campaigns and so forth, not really earning the trust of the real Bitcoin community that was there for, over 10 years now. And Square is, really playing this long game of being open source and really kind of pushing this holistic development of the whole space. And I think then at some point, you can kind of earn what you've built over the years, and insert yourself in more detail in transaction flows or whatnot. I think they're very deliberate in this approach. I think it's a very great approach, and if you're thinking about it from a valuation perspective, I think that like I said, a lot of investors probably are still not appreciating the full potential of Cash App. I think really the majority is not thinking about these things we're just talking about. And that's obviously very fascinating too. You can kind of get a sneak peek into what they might do if you look at some of their patents. I don't know if you've done that, Gali, but that's really fascinating. So you can kind of think about that, but obviously you also have to know that patents are not that reliable. They just want to kind of put everything out there, and who knows with what they're going to follow up. But it's like you said, very, very fascinating what they're doing on that. And just one last point also about the company DNA. The Cash App already has, like George said, maybe a little bit different DNA at the overall Square team. But then the Square Crypto team, a little bit different as well, very passionate. Same time having that, top down, obviously from Jack Dorsey. If you look at his Twitter bio, I think you know how much he likes this space. So yeah.